The last session that we were doing state of consciousness. We're doing state of consciousness. We are done with human nervous condition, sensation and perception, as well as the state of consciousness. Today we are doing what? Intelligence. Intelligence. The most interesting topic. However, for you to master the concept in intelligence, you need to master human nervous system. It all starts from human nervous system. The nerves, the impulses, the brain, the movement of information, again, the sensation and perception, state of consciousness. Then you go to intelligence. So for you to master intelligence, make sure that you do the first 3 chapters. So as always, let's start it on the interesting note. In your understanding, what is intelligence? I want to hear your voices. Your understanding, the term intelligence. How do you understand the term intelligence? The term intelligence is defined differently. From our school days, when we were young, we used to say, this one is smart, this one is intelligent. We could differentiate. Now we are psychology students. I hope our definition, our understanding of the term intelligence has broadened. So before we start, we continue. Before I give you my explanation, I would like to know what's your understanding of the term intelligence.
Yeah, I think intelligence is the ability to acquire knowledge and skills.
Yes, that's a good one. It's an ability to acquire knowledge and skills. Thanks very much. And do what with the skills? Someone can answer that. It's an ability to acquire skills and competencies. There's one sentence that is short. And do what with the skills?
To apply the skills and knowledge.
Yes. Thanks very much, Mutano. It's an ability to acquire and apply. If not apply, and perform. For people to determine your intelligence, you need to perform your intelligence. For us to say happiness is intelligent, for us to say no child is intelligent, you need to perform a certain assessment. Then you can conclude that yes, indeed, they are intelligent. So it's an ability to acquire. Perhaps you acquire through studying, then you perform. You do a mathematics, you are attending a class of mathematics class, your lecturer is presenting numbers and figures, then later, the lecturer gives you an activity, test on assignment. As soon as you start doing that assignment, meaning we're determining your intelligence. We want to know how far can you do it. So that is performance. Intelligence, for you to understand intelligence, just know that intelligence is divided into 3 concepts, 3 units. Concept, measurement of intelligence, theories of intelligence, intelligence and creativity. So for you to understand, you need to be able to define the concept intelligence, measurement of intelligence, theories of intelligence, as well as intelligence and creativity. So these are my notes. It's a summary based on the intelligence. It's a summary based on the unit that the lecturer has given you. Let's go to the lecturer's notes as well, just that you won't get lost. Share. So these are your lecturer's notes, of which is unit 8, intelligence and creativity. We call it intelligence and creativity. They say this learning unit will help you to gain knowledge about the concept of intelligence as well as creativity. So you cannot discuss intelligence without including creativity. We'll discuss that later. Gain knowledge about the different types of intelligence. Understand the different factors that influence intelligence. Understand how scientists in the field of psychology study and measure intelligence. Then the last one, understand the concept of creativity and its related aspects. So when you do your notes, you're trying to break down your studies now that the exams are coming. You follow this. You can write this as your main topic. Gain knowledge about the concepts of intelligence and creativity, meaning they need a definition, show your understanding of the term, of the concept, intelligence and creativity, then you write your notes below. Same applies. Gain knowledge about the different type of intelligence, you write down the type of intelligence. So this is the breakdown. By the end of this unit, you need to have an ability to answer this, to apply this. Let's look at this introduction. It says, the question of what constitutes human intelligence is one of the oldest debates in psychology, which is true. The question of what constitutes human intelligence is one of the oldest debates in psychology. Even us. Remember, when you're attending high school, particularly when you do your grade 8, the teachers or the school setting categorize the learners in different in relation to their subject choice, in relation to career. There are students who are doing mostly math and science. There are those who are doing accounting, maths. There are those who are doing, we call it general, where you find home economics, history, I'm not sure what they call it now, biology. They categorize us in terms of our competency. As students, we normally say, in high school setting, we normally say, those who are doing math and science, they are smart, they are more intelligent. Those who are doing accounting, business management, yes, they are intelligent, but not compared to the math ones, math and science one. The math and science one are seen as more intelligent. That's our understanding. Someone who's good in numbers and figures, we see that person as the most intelligent. However, someone who's good in sports, we tend to judge his or her intelligence. For instance, since you're in South Africa, let me use this case. You'll find people in social media, someone who's successful, whether it's a musician, whether it's a sports fanatic. People will say, yes, he's smart, he's intelligent, but he or she doesn't have metric. You'll find the talks like that. He's smart, but he doesn't have metric. Meaning most of our understanding of the concept of intelligence, particularly before you even study psychology, is narrow. It discriminates certain aspects. So here they're explaining to us what is intelligence, the true nature of intelligence. Most of us studying psychology has been curious to know what the concept of intelligence means. When you think of smart people, you are more likely to have a sense of what makes them smart. You see? Maybe you think they have good memory, or they can think quickly, or even that they simply know the whole lot of information and facts. Indeed, people who exhibit such qualities appear to be intelligent. In this unit, we consider how psychologists contextualize the term human intelligence. So for us to understand the term intelligence, we need an assistant of psychologists, because their theory is based on what? It's based on facts, it's based on evidence. Same applies to us as student psychologists. Our analysis, our debate, our argument need to be based on what? On facts. If a student from business management, or if your parents, your husband comes to you and say, what's your understanding of the term intelligence? You need to give a clear explanation that, like you have done, happiness as well as no time. You cannot just say intelligent is a smart person. You need to be specific. We learn about the nature of intelligence, the different theoretical models that explain intelligence. The factors that influence the development of intelligence will also be discussed. This discussion will include measurement of intelligence, and the concept of creativity will also be explored. However, we'll avoid this unit for now because it's long, and use the notes that I've designed for you. Let's go back to the notes that I've designed for you. Okay. Intelligence. What is intelligence? Concept and measurement of intelligence. It says, Intelligence refers to the ability to reason. It's an ability to what? To reason. Like you said, there is an ability to acquire skills. I want to break it down. It's an ability to reason. When you acquire skills, you need to be able to reason. I give you a class right now. I'm explaining the concept to you. For you to understand, you need to what? To reason, to apply your knowledge, to try to understand, to make sense of the information. That is reasoning. The ability to what? To solve problems, learn, perform complex tasks, act purposefully, and adapt to the environment. Intelligence refers to an ability to reason. You highlight, solve problems, learn, perform complex tasks, act purposefully, and adapt to the environment. Let me break down these ways. The first one explained it. Ability to reason. If you can't reason, it's difficult to say your intelligence. I want to give you a task to perform. You need to reason. Whether you're playing sports, whether you are in academic. Let's look at the Messi, let's look at the Ronaldo, the Lodge. When they're playing, they use their mind. They need to look around the surrounding of the players around them. They need to be able to pass the ball. They need to be able to determine that I can shoot this side, particularly when they're doing penalty. That is a part of reasoning. You cannot just do it because they're talented. It's part of reasoning. You need to know the speed to determine whether this player can pass me or it's a slow player. Ability to solve problems. For us to determine intelligence, we give you an activity in class, then you perform that activity. That is problem solving. The interesting one, the ability to learn. Without learning, you cannot acquire skills. Without learning, you cannot acquire knowledge. You need to have an ability to learn. You need to have an ability to study. You see? For instance, now you have your what? Your prescribed material in front of you. You have a third one, a tutor, a PowerPoint presentation. I can talk the whole day, but if you don't have an ability to learn, to study, nothing can assist. You cannot grasp information. So intelligence is part of learning. You need to be able to ability to learn. They say perform complex tasks. We say people are intelligent because they can perform certain tasks. Cristiano Ronaldo is intelligent in what? In sports, because he can perform. It has been proven that he can perform complex tasks, can do things that other players cannot do. Psychologists are psychologists because they can do things that other people they cannot do. Or they're struggling with personal issues that can harm your studies, can harm your marriage, can harm your personal life. You can go to your hubby, to your friend, to your parents to discuss the issue. However, they cannot master it like psychologists, because psychologists, they've been trained to perform this complex task. Act purposefully. Again, they say act purposefully. We give you an assignment to perform. We give you multiple choice. Multiple choice, we give you a question and 4 options. For you to answer, you need to answer purposefully. You cannot do blind guessing. You cannot guess of answers. You need to answer, you choose an appropriate answer, the correct answer. That is, you act purposefully. If you don't act purposefully, we can conclude that you are not intelligent. Same applies to sports. You play with purpose. You push the ball with purpose. The goal is to score. You act purposefully for us to determine intelligence. Adapt to the environment. The last one is the ability to adapt to environment. Remember, before COVID, you used to write exams in an examination sitting. You go to an examination sitting, you sit down and you write your exam, whether it's multiple choice or written. Currently, the exams are mostly of them are online. I've been heard of an exam that you write on an examination sitting venue. Most you write them online. So when they say to you, adapt to the environment. Adapt to the environment, you'll find people that they can master content. You provide them classes, they study their notes, they master it, they can be able to share the information with their fellow students. They are good at that. However, when they go to an examination setting, come results, it's either the person gets 50, fail the exam, or get the marks that he or she did not expect. Compared to the students, the students that you were teaching, you were assisting with knowledge, they get higher marks. Then you ask yourself, why is that? So the key is adapt to the new environment. Adaptability to the environment. The students will tell you, I prefer to sit for an exam in an examination venue, allocated examination venue, compared to writing exams online. Then they say adapt to the environment. For us to determine your intelligence, you need to be able to adapt to an environment. If you say, go and write your exam in an examination sitting and master it, in conclusion, you can say, Nontando is intelligence in doing psychology, in mastering psychological concepts, regardless of the environment. So being able to adapt to the environment. If you play soccer, you need to be able to adapt to a new environment. That is part of intelligence. Whether you're playing netball or you're playing soccer, you need to adapt to an environment. Meaning, there's a crowd. You need to be adapt to a crowd. 50,000 spectators, 100,000 spectators, there is viewership online review. Your team has how many players? Like Sundown players, 50 players. You need to be able to adapt to that environment. So it's all about adaptability. Adaptability. Currently, I'm presenting a class. I ask question. I ask you to elaborate. Some will open their mic and explain the concept to me. Some will just type under the charts because we differ. It's all about adapt to the new environment. Second point, they say intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. Intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. Okay, if I keep quiet, I have water next to me. So now and again, I drink. Sorry about that. Intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. They are used to measure intelligence, behavior, performance through different tasks and activities. What do they mean by psychological standardized tests? I've been explaining, I've been talking. Perhaps you ask yourself, how do we determine someone's intelligence? Besides giving you the task, the activity, however, how do we determine your intelligence? Psychologists, psychometrists, they can easily say your intelligence is above average or is beyond the other students in the class. Or I can also give you a scenario whereby you are a parent. You are a parent, you have kids, the school calls you. The school calls you and say, hey, Happiness, we would like to talk to you. The phone you Happiness as a parent, they say the teacher say, we'd like to talk to you. Then you go to the school, pay them a visit, they sit you down, then they start explaining. Let's assume that your child is 12 years old. Then they tell you that, no, your son, a 12-year-old son, by the name of Samantha, is struggling with these subjects or the content overall. He's struggling with the content. Then you think that we should take him or her to the psychologist, or we think of taking him to a lower grade instead of doing grade, of continuing with grade 7. We think of taking him to a lower grade, and that concerns you. And they say to you, no, feel free to take your Samantha to a psychologist to determine what? His intelligence. To determine his intelligence. So once they say that, you need to take your son or your daughter to a psychologist, psychologists, they don't just presume, they don't just assume. They will do what? They will use psychological tests. So you need psychological tests to do that. Evidence, something that's written down, the paper. Then you take your son or daughter to the educational psychologist. In this case, South Africa is the educational psychologist. Internationally, they say it's child psychologist. So in South Africa, we don't have a profession that says child psychologist, however, educational psychologist, they specialize in child psychology. Then you take your child to a child psychologist, you explain the story, then the educational psychologist need to determine the cognitive level of your child, the mental level of your child, by using what? Psychological tests. Intelligence is measured through the use of psychological tests, to use psychological tests in order to provide the tests, the results that are valid. When your kid is currently doing primary, next year is going to high school. Some high school, they will tell you, secondary school, that for your kids to join, for children to join the school, they need to go through the tests. You go to a new place, they tell you, besides the interview, face-to-face interview, you need to try to go through the psychological test to determine your level of understanding, whether you can work under pressure, how can you handle crowd, how many are them. Those are psychological tests. They use those psychological tests because they were designed mostly by the psychologist. So they are proven valid also by the HPSA. They used to measure individuals' behavior performance. They use them to measure individuals' behavior and performance. You go for interview, the interview face-to-face, then they give a psychological test to determine, it acts as a predictor for performance. They will say, Siyabonga's one is answered 1, 2, 3, 75%. In conclusion, meaning he can lecture, he can teach, he can do problem solving based on the psychological test. Then they keep it as an evidence. Intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. They are used to measure individuals' behavior, performance through different tasks and activities. So we've mentioned that. So for us to understand, how do they apply psychological tests? That's a key question. How do they apply psychological tests? We have mental age, which is MA, as well as intelligence quotient. Intelligence quotient, that is IQ. Most know it as an IQ. We grew up knowing that your IQ is low when you see each other. You have a low IQ. So in full is intelligence quotient. That's what you need to do as a student psychologist. Tell them it's intelligent quotient, not just IQ. And some they can't even pronounce the name. And once you study psychology or we are psychologists, now and again, people will come to you and even ask questions, silly questions like, are you studying psychology? You say yes. They say, can you read my mind? Those questions, can you read my mind? They even lean against you. Can you read my mind? So it's important to know this concept to explain this to them. The conscience, the intelligence, the mental age. Or mental age, child's mental age is based on the age-related question that the child can answer. The child mental age is based on the age-related questions that the child can answer, tasks the child can perform on the test of intelligence. Intelligent quotient is a ratio multiplied between the child's mental age and the child's chronological age divided by the value of 100. What do they mean by about this? And the chronological age is your actual age, the age in your ID. I know some of you have a birth certificate. It's an age of your ID. It's an age on the birth certificate, the actual age, your age. Then the mental age is based on what? on the task that you can perform in relation to age. I say child mental age is based on the age-related questions that the child can answer. For instance, the child is 12 years old. However, he or she can perform activities that can be done by 15 years old, 16 years old. So that is mental age. In short, mental age divided by CA divided by chronological age, then but they say divided by the value of 100. Then you get what? The actually someone intelligent conscience. Your intelligent conscience means that we can conclude and say Samantha can perform activities that can be performed by, let's assume that Samantha is 12 years old. You take your child to a psychologist by the name of Samantha is 12 years old. Then the psychologist does the test, conduct the assessment. Then later you present the results to the parents as well as the school teachers. The result says, Samantha is a 12-year-old, he or she can perform activities that are only done by 10 years old. Meaning Samantha average performance mental age is below her actual age. Can perform activities that can be done only by the 10-year-old, not 12-year-old. Meaning it's clear, it makes sense that the educators, the principals are saying, instead of promoting to the next grade, let's just study in the lower grade. Through what? Through these assessments. Through these assessments. The study unit as examples. I said examples in the book. The study unit as well as some examples, but we'll check them later. Now we are done with understanding the concept intelligence, understanding mental age, understanding intelligent conscience. We are continuing now. Theories of intelligence. For us to understand what to continue, we need to know the theories of intelligence. In the beginning, like I said when I start, psychologists they've been debating in relation to understanding and explaining the term intelligence. There are different views in relation to the term intelligence, whether psychologists or student psychologists or people in general. There are different definition, understanding of the term intelligence. The question is, where does it start? One, we have what? Biological intelligence. Intelligence as a one factor, multiple intelligence, information processing, as well as heredity, and versus environment. Biological intelligence. Remember, biological is something that is physical. Biological is something that is physical. So let's check what do they mean by biological intelligence. The theories behind biological intelligence. This is the theories behind biological intelligence. That is Sir Francis Galton. Biological is to do with what? Genetic inheritance. It's genetical because it's something that is physical. In Zulu, they say ufuzo. It's genetic, something that is inherited. One, nature versus nurture. Refer to the inherited components of intelligence. Let me explain this first. There's a say that success runs in the family. There's a say that success runs in the family, meaning that if the father is successful, chances are the kids will be successful. Chances are the family, the overall of the family, they have that bloodline, they have that in the genes which influence success. You'll find some families, Most of them, they can sing very well. It's genetically. Some families play sports. Most of them play sports. It's genetically. From one generation to the next. And on the negative side, you find the grandparents. You find the grandparent perhaps experiencing what? Has a high blood condition, hypertension condition, as well as any person around the family. The grandchild, his daughter is what? High blood pressure. They are trying to explain what? The genetic inheritance. But because we're talking about intelligence here, we focus on the positive side. Positive side that intelligence is inherited. That's Francis' understanding, explanation. Intelligence is genetic inherited. Refer to inherited component of intelligence. That is nature. They call it nature. When you answer your multiple choice question, genetic inheritance by Sir Francis Galton versus nature. Refer to inherited component of nature. Then we have nurture. Nurture refers to the effect of the environment. The effect of the environment. So besides inheriting something from your parents, also nature plays a huge role. They say the environment plays a huge role in influencing one's intelligence. They say you can come from a family whereby they are successful. However, academically, they are not that excellent. That's what they say. You can come from, for instance, you come in a family that is successful through entrepreneurship, successful through business. However, academically, they are not that well off. Either few people with qualification or they don't have a qualification at all. However, they choose education for you. They say, son, go to school in order to acquire knowledge. Then you'll see the business later, the business side later. Then you go to school. The key here is, remember, they didn't go to school. However, they are successful. Then they decide to take you to school. The fear would be, would I manage? If you don't have enough confidence in regarding your academic performance, then it says, according to Sir Francis says, also the environment can influence your intelligence. The environment can influence your intelligence. You going to school and attend classes, the environment on its own can influence your intelligence. By the environment, they're referring to people around you, the setting around you. Can influence what? Your intelligence. That's why we find parents choosing the best school for their kids. We don't just wake up and apply for schooling for your kids, for children. But you choose specific schools. You choose specific schools based on what? Based on what you heard, what you know. Because you are hoping that the environment can affect what? Your child's capacity. You expect that the environment will influence your child's level of thinking. They refer to the effect of the environment. That's what they expect. They expect that the environment can influence your child's thinking, the effect of the environment. So some they will tell you that the environment has a huge influence compared to the genetics. They say genetics, they're influential. However, the environment has the most effects. The most effects comes from the environment. You can come from a well-off family. However, the environment can defeat you, can either break you or assist you in excelling more. Hence, they say the environment has a huge effect. Remember, there's peer pressure, there are drugs, there's bad company, or also good company. The environment can easily influence you, whether it's genetical, whether you're smart, can easily influence you negative, can easily influence you positive. So that is Sir Francis' biological intelligence, which is influenced by genetics, genetic influence, nature, inherited components of intelligence. Inherited components runs in the family. Nurture, then the environment can affect your level of thinking. Environment has a huge effect on your thinking. Then you continue. We're summarizing this. Remember, we said biological, one factor, intelligence, multiple intelligence, information processing, heredity, and the environment. Now we're moving to intelligence as a one general factor or multiple factor. Intelligence as a one general factor or multiple factor. By who? By Charles Perman. Make sure that you know these theories. But each and every concept has its own theory. Multiple choice question. We might ask you a question and say, nature refers to the inherited component of intelligence. Whose theory is that? Nature refers to the inherited component of intelligence, as well as it also refers to, nature is also referred to the effect of environment. Who's the theorist? You put Francis Galton, you put Charles Perman, put Gardner, we put Robert Sternberg. Then you need to choose an appropriate theory. For intelligence, there's so many theories, so you need to make sure that you know the theories. Charles Perman deals with what? Sir Francis Galton is biological inheritance. Charles Perman it's a one-factor theory or multiple theory. Under this theory, we have again two theories, that is Tessin as well as Galford. Tessin and Galford. The multiple factor is by Tessin, then Galford is G, general factor. According to Tessin says yes, there is biological inheritance. I understand that Sir Francis says you can only understand intelligence through biological intelligence. However, you can also break down intelligence in these 7 factors. One can understand intelligence in these 7 factors. 7 factors: verbal comprehension, general reasoning, word fluent, memory, number ability, spatial ability, as well as perceptual speed. For you to understand intelligence, you need to be good in one of these. In short, it says you cannot say someone is intelligent based on the fact that he's good in numbers and figures. However, you can conclude that someone is intelligent based on what his or her ability to deal with words, to write, to read. And to have what? Artists who can write, the songwriters. They are intelligent in that field. You will find in high school, those are good in writing essays. Those are good in dealing with numbers and figures. Meaning intelligent is based on specific. For you to say I'm intelligent, you need to able to highlight am I intelligent in these aspects. Hence, I was using the high school example that by saying you assume that those who are doing math and science, they are smart, they are smarter compared to the other learners. However, that is a no-no because we are unique. Our intelligence differs. Because someone is an artist and have an ability to be successful, that without metric, that doesn't mean that he's stupid. However, he or she is intelligent in that specific field. That's why Tessin says we can define intelligence in different factors. Factor number 1, verbal comprehension. Verbal comprehension, you can assume that presenters, radio, TV, the MCs, stand-up comedian, they are good in talking. The Trevor Noahs, they are good in talking. They are good in even saying certain words. That is verbal comprehension. They make money through talking. News readers. Then there's general reasoning. General reasoning, the ability to reason. At times, you don't need to master certain skills, to master certain aspects for us to say we are intelligent. But a general reasoning is an ability to understand when they say repo rate is increasing, when they say South Africa is experiencing recession, when they say you need to vote in order to make change. That's a general reasoning, something that is expected from all of us. You need to know your country, you need to know the news around you. When they say inflation, you need to have an idea of what is inflation. When they say someone is experiencing stress, you need to know what is stress. It's a general reasoning, general capacity. It's a knowledge that at times you don't even need to go to school, but you need to know it in order for you to survive. Word fluency, again, to go back to the presenters. For you to be able to present, for you to be able to teach people, you need to have word fluency so that they can understand. But mostly I use presenters, the MC. Especially news readers. Remember, they write down, script writers, they write words down. Word influence, meaning that's your intelligence. Memory. Why memory? Interesting one. Why memory? Memory, like I've said, right now, I'm conducting a class with you. I'm trying to facilitate change in your thinking. Therefore, you need to be able to memorize. You need to be able to learn. I present a lesson today, or you study on your own. They tell you on November on the 6th, perhaps you're writing an exam. The ability to what? To memorize information. The ability to remember aspects. You are intelligent in that way. You sit for an exam and be able to remember everything. You write your exam, you get a distinction, meaning you're intelligent in what? In memorizing, and you are intelligent in what? In applying. Intelligent in memorizing, intelligent in applying. Without having an ability to memorize, to remember information, it's difficult to say you are intelligent because you cannot perform the task. You cannot apply. Number abilities, those who are good in numbers and figures. Those who normally choose careers like financial accounting, actuary, they are good in what? Numbers and figures. Engineering, they are good in numbers and figures. Then we have what? Spatial ability. Spatial ability, the ability to see things before it gets done. E.g., those what? Artists, the ones working craft, painters, architect, they are good spatially because they come to the land, they look at the land, then they start drawing that this building will face this direction. Then you can put pillars here. Here you can put your gardening. They're designing it using their mind. They've got their spatial ability. Car designers, their spatial abilities. So most is artists who use to create sculptures. They say they think in pictures. Then we have what? The perceptual speed. Perceptual speed is an example that is. Remember, perceptual is an ability to. We have sensation. Sensation is the ability to what? To receive information. When you receive information, we say this is sensation. When you interpret information, we say perceptual. We say perception. The ability to interpret that information, we say is perception. Now they say perceptual speed. For instance, tennis players. You see tennis players, when they play tennis, they need to anticipate any movement. They are quick. Their movement is so swift, it's so quick. Left, right. Meaning their perceptual speed as well is so quick. Who's this guy? Michael Schumacher's. Their perceptual speed is so good. They think quick. That's how they're intelligent. That's their intelligence. Using their perceptual. Also, when you drive, you also use the what? Your perceptual. You need to have an ability to see danger when it's coming. You move left and right, left and right, left and right to make sure that you don't cause any accident. Perceptual speed. So you study this concept using your notes, the details using your notes. This is just a summary to make you understand. Then you have what? Galford G, general factor. Galford G, general factor, which is divided into operation, content, product. So these concepts are almost similar, just that they use different wording. Multiple factors by testing, 7 multiple factor. Galford G factor, we have operation, content, and product. Operation are several ways the brain deals with task. There are several ways the brain deals with tasks. Each operation are processes such as evaluation and memory. Evaluation and memory. According to Galford, say, operation are several ways the brain deals with task. E.g., operation is a process of evaluation and memory. You need to be able to know that the testing talks about memory as well as Galford talks about memory, because multiple choice can trick you. We can play around. Which two theories talk about memory in their explanation of intelligence? Then you know it's testing and Galford. We play around and say we put this statement and say are several ways the brain deals with tasks, e.g., operation a process such as evaluation and memory. Choose the most correct answer. Then you say to choose the most correct answer. You put Stetson, we put Charles Spearman, you choose Galford. Choose the most appropriate theories that says the statement. The most appropriate to know that is Galford because of the two concepts. Content. We can determine someone's intelligence through determining their content. Content, they say, refers to the different forms of mental representation. Refer to the different forms of mental representation. Mental representation, visual, auditory, and behavioral. The ability to see, the ability to hear and behave. Then we have product. Product are the result of operation. Each product could be identification. Product could be the identification of relationship between things, results, and mental operation. A product, you do a task, you submit your assignment. That's a final product. In this final product, will give you marks to determine your level of competence. So you start from operation, content, and the product. In short, to say operation is a process whereby we teach you. Then you'll memorize the information, you evaluate, you do your studies, you do your notes. Content. That's where you need to apply content in practice. Product, you submit the final product based on what? On your results. That's why you summarize it. Moving on, before I confuse you any further, you have what? Multiple intelligence. Multiple intelligence by Gardner. 8 multiple intelligence, 8 types of intelligences. Don't confuse the two. We have testing multiple factor theory with 7 factors. Here is Gardner. Gardner with what? 8 factors. Some of these concepts are similar. Multiple intelligence, your ability to perform music, the ability to produce and perform. Straight to the point. The ability to produce and perform, write songs. You are meaning you're musically intelligently. Like the Casper verse, they are musically intelligently. The Mariah Carey, they are musically intelligently. The body kinesthetic energy, body kinesthetic intelligence. Body kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to use your body to perform certain tasks. Sportsmen, the ability to use their body. For instance, when you look at tennis players, the way they move is so nice. They are quick, swift, left, right. Meaning their body, is body kinesthetic. Not anyone can do that. It's talent as well as training. Talent and training. Body kinesthetic. Body kinesthetic. Please close the mic. Close the mic. Close your mic. Thank you. As I was explaining, body kinesthetic, the ability to use the brain to perform activity. Then logically mathematical intelligence. Logically mathematical intelligence, the ability to use numbers and figures. E.g., the financial accounting students. Areas like actuarial science. Engineers, they are logical mathematical intelligence. Okay, guys, I'm not sure. I'll just give a summary of this. Then we continue. I think I did explain intelligence in terms of multiple factor and the G factor. I will just move quick. I said to you, the Charles Perman. Charles Perman is the author, the theories behind intelligent G factor and multiple factor. Then under Charles Perman, we have Tessin as well as Galford. Tessin is multiple factor. G general factor is about by Galford. I explained this concept. I said to you, for us to say people are intelligent, you need to be specific. When you say someone is intelligent, you need to be specific. Intelligent in what aspect, in what field? Yeah, one is intelligent in verbal comprehension. Verbal, the weights. Verbal, meaning the presenters, the MCs, they're more good in verbal. That's how they make living. The Trevor Noahs, they are good in verbal, expressing themselves verbally. In short, they are verbal intelligent, they are verbal comprehension. And it's like general reasoning. General reasoning is based on the general aspects. I said, when they say a repo rate is increasing, there's inflation, why do we need to vote? Global warming, that's a general reasoning. We expect you to know those things because they impact you on you directly. You don't need to go to school to understand them. Because it's general reasoning. It's something that you need to know. Working at night, you know that working at night, chances are you might get into danger. When you get into danger, most of the time, people, they are sleeping. Who will assist you? It's a general knowledge, it's general reasoning. Then word fluency. Word fluency, news readers. For you to be a news reader, you need to be able to alter words fluently. You need to be able to write fluently. As presenters as well, it's word fluent. They are intelligent in using words. Memory, as I'm conducting the class right now, you need to be able to remember the information. Or whether you study on your own, you need to have an ability to remember information. If you can't remember information, meaning you cannot perform the task. It starts from you. You study, you memorize. Then you present information. We have what? Number ability. The number ability, the ability to use numbers and figures. You are good in maths, you are good in financial accounting. Engineers, they use numbers and figures. Then special ability, I said, mostly the ability to think in pictures, to create. The architect engineers, they are good in special. The gardeners, they are good in special. Artists who create structures, who draw, they are good in special ability. Then you said perceptual speed. Perceptual speed starts from where? Senses. Remember senses, sensation and perception. Senses is receiving information. You sense, you receive information. Perception, how do you interpret that information? But this one is spatial ability, perceptual ability. Perceptual ability, I made an example. I'm not sure whether you heard me. I made an example of a tennis player. Tennis, they move left and right, quick left and right. They have the ability to see a ball in speed, left and right. They are good in that. Sport, motoring is a sport. The Lewis Hamilton, the way they move the car, the way they take corners, the way they have an ability to see who's coming at the back. In what speed can I use? They are perceptual. They use perceptual speed. Soccer players, perceptual speed. They need to anticipate who's coming from the left, from the right. When I pass the ball, Neymar will come this side. Perceptual speed. Then you have Galford, G factor. The Galford G factor. G factor says, yes, I do understand about analytical intelligence. Yes, it makes sense. However, his analysis is that for us to understand intelligence, we need to break it into three factors, aspects. Three factors: operation, content, as well as products. We need to break it down into three: operation, content, and product. By operation, it means are several ways the brain deals with tasks. There are several ways the brain deals with tasks. What are those several ways? Evaluation and memory. You see? Memory is evaluation and memory. As I conduct a lesson now, you evaluating the information, you memorize in order to use it later. You putting it is through memory and evaluation. Then the content refers to different forms of mental representation, visual, auditory, and behavioral. As I'm explaining to you right now, I try to make sure that my slides have colors. You can see the mouse is moving, colors, different colors, in order for you to memorize. Students differ, people differ. They are visual learners, they are auditory learners. Some say I prefer, in order for me to master information, to be able to remember information, when I study, I use colored pens. I need to attend Mr. Zwane classes, meaning we are a visual learner, or at time auditory. You need to listen to someone in order to memorize information. You need to use colors in order to remember. You differ. You understand? It starts from operation. However, operation is influenced by how do you make sure that the same memorize in evaluation. How to make sure that you memorize. You differ. You use different mental representation. Some is visual, auditory, behavioral. Then product. Behavioral could be, those students will tell you that once before exam, I'll go to in front of the mirror and rehearse, explain the answers. I need to discuss with other learners for me to remember. I need to repeat the information now and again. Then the products, you can easily say final product, are the results of operation. Are the results of what? Of operation. E.g., product could be the identification of relationship between things, the results, resulting from mental operation. Product could be identification of relationship between things resulting from mental operation. That's how you need to understand it. And that's it, you make sure that you know the theories. Because since it's multiple choice question, it's easy to create a question paper that can challenge students, at times trick them to check their knowledge, to make sure that you know the theories. I made an example by, they might say to you, choose the most appropriate answer. Choose the most appropriate answer. Then you say, operation are several ways the brain deals with task. E.g., operation process such as evaluation and memory. You see there's memory on the right-hand side, there's memory on the left-hand side. They say choose the most appropriate answer. Someone might say memory is the theories that talks about memory is testing, as well as Galford. So when you choose the most appropriate answer, you know that Galford deals with evaluation as well as memory. Then moving on. Multiple intelligence. They are almost similar with, I said to you, don't confuse testing 7 factors with Gardner 8 factors. Don't confuse the two. Here we have multiple factors by Gardner. Then we have guessing multiple factors by guessing 7 of them. They are similar, just the phrasing is different. For instance, they say here logical, mathematical intelligence. Guessing says number ability. They say linguistic intelligence. Guessing says verbal as well as word fluent. Linguistic, word fluent, and verbal. Mostly they are similar, however, they use different wording. Spatial intelligence, here they say spatial speed. See? Interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence, they say there is verbal comprehension. Word fluent. So don't confuse the two. When they ask you questions, this is how Tessin phrase them, and this is how Gardner phrase them. Multiple intelligence, which is your ability to produce and perform music. The ability to play musical instruments. So it's not all about using your voice, but in ability to master guitar, your ability to master a piano. That is your meaning, you are musically intelligent. So careers under artists, famous people under musical intelligence can mention many. Can mention the case, we can mention the Mariah Carey. They are good in what? Producing and performing music. Then writing music. And they can play certain concepts. The DJs. We have DJ Kofis. The fact that they cannot sing doesn't mean that they are not musically intelligent, because they produce music. Only kinesthetic intelligence. Both kinesthetic intelligence, I've been using the same example. Soccer players, if not soccer players, sports fanatic, the ones that are playing sports, their body kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to use your body uniquely is polykinesthetic intelligence. Because not all of us can do that. Logical and mathematical intelligence, the ability to use numbers and figures. Numbers and figures, the actual science people, financial accounting, mathematician, then linguistic intelligence, linguistic language, the ability to know multiple language, e.g. news readers, they use language, e.g. presenters use language, e.g. the stand-up comedian, they use languages. Besides languages, an ability to speak, the ability to express certain ways, the ability to talk in front of people. You are linguistically what? Intelligent. The ability to use your voice to catch people's attention. Then we have what? Spatial intelligence. Spatial intelligence, as I mentioned here, spatial abilities, spatial intelligence, mostly they are artists, designers. You buy a house or you build a house, then you decide to do a garden. But you need someone who's good at that, someone who can master it. You call gardeners or forest what. Come to you and tell you, you can put these trees here, flowers here, florist here, you can put a grass here by looking at the place. Those people are spatial intelligence. They are good in thinking in pictures, they are good in creating, they are good in artists who paint, artists who design objects. Then we have what? Interpersonal intelligence. Interpersonal intelligence is almost similar to word influence and verbal. It's nearly similar with linguistic. Interpersonal intelligence. As a lecturer, as a tutor, as a teacher, as a presenter, you need to be good in interpersonal intelligence. As aspiring psychologists like you right now, you need to be good in interpersonal intelligence. You need to master interpersonal intelligence. The ability to socialize, the ability to talk to people intelligently, the ability to communicate information. Because not anyone can do that. You'll find some people, they are good in what? In reading, understanding. But if I ask you a question, please explain intelligence to me. You're struggling. meaning we are not good in interpersonal intelligence. However, we are good in what? Intrapersonal intelligence. So interpersonal, like I said, carriers, interpersonal intelligence, sorry about that. Being a facilitator, in fact, standing in front of people and delivering something, that is interpersonal intelligence. Besides that, interpersonal intelligence, there are people who don't go for either for clubbing to events, you know, that guaranteed they will get friends. You are guaranteed them that you'll get friends. It's easy for them to make to mingle around. It's easy for them to get other people's attention. It's easier for them to make friends. Meaning they are good in interpersonal intelligence. Then intra is an opposite of inter, is internally. Meditating is something that is internally. We differ as individuals. It's in, intra is in, inter is out. Then the naturalistics. The naturalistics, as I was explaining the special, also naturalistics, it goes with special. People who love nature, people are good in nature. They look at the ground, then they must they like I said, gardeners, they are good in nature. The florists, they are good in nature. Farmers, we can say they have a naturalistic intelligence as well. They are good in nature. Then we have what? Robert Sternberg. Robert Sternberg, let me see something.
I don't know whether it's a question or an elaboration. Will I be correct when I say general reasoning is the ability to understand general knowledge?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, general ability, general reasoning, ability to understand general knowledge. Jens has said to you, general knowledge is based on anything that may affect you as an individual. I made an example in relation to the current South Africa. Now again, petrol is going up. You need to know what the effects, what does it mean when they say petrol is going up. When they say the repo rate is going up, you need to understand inflation, you need to understand. You need to understand when they say voting for a new party will impact on our political. So you need to know there's stress. When I come to and say stress, you cannot know, I don't understand, go to a psychologist. Stress is stress. You don't need a textbook to understand that. You need a profession to explain that to you. Jens they say general reasoning, general knowledge. For us to understand for us to say you're intelligent, you need to make conversation. You meet new people. When you meet new people, normally you discuss whether it's relationship stuff, whether it's economy, whether it's politics. That is general reasoning, the ability to make conversation, the ability to hold conversation, to communicate. Then you can easily say, yo, you're intelligent. You go to your date, first date, normally besides your beauty, besides whether you are a spender or not, it's interesting to determine one's cognitive capacity, the general reasoning. Okay, that's a good question. Thanks very much. Okay, let me continue because I can still see there's no hand meaning you understand. Let's continue. Okay. Robert Sternberg, triarchy theory, information processing. Triarchy theory, information processing. We are done with biological intelligence. Intelligence is a one general factor or multiple factors. We are done with multiple intelligence. Now we're moving to information processing. After information processing, we close by heredity versus in the environment. Let's go to information processing. Here's information processing. Information processing is by Robert Sternberg. Triarchy theory. Triarchy theory meaning three. Triarchy theory, componential intelligence, experiential intelligence, contextual intelligence. Componential intelligence by Sternberg. Sternberg says, for us to understand intelligence, we need to break it down into three components. Component number one, componential intelligence. refers to the ways in which people process information, e.g., are processes used for planning and problem solving or obtaining new information. That's according to Sternberg. We need to componential intelligence. We need to have a way, there's a way you plan and problem solving as well as obtaining new information through componential intelligence. So the key under componential intelligence is planning. You highlight planning, problem solving, as well as obtaining new information. How you obtain new information, that's how you determine intelligence. For instance, you move to a new environment. In a new environment, or you decide that from now on, I would like to take classes. Classes perhaps for trading, forest. For us to determine whether you're intelligent or not, you know what you are doing. You need to determine the ability to obtain new information. We judge you from the first set. Obtaining new information can determine whether you can move on or not. When you go for trials, soccer trials, to determine if you can manage to play soccer. When you go for assessment, school assessment, you decide to go to do your honors. Then they say, no, before you accept you, we need to go through certain assessments. They give you certain questions to obtain, to check if you'll be able to study your honors. How you obtain new information. Then experiential components. Experiential components refer to ways a person's past experience contributes to knowledge, skills that are applied in life and situations. This is more like, again, general knowledge. Refer to the ways a person past experience. How do you use your past experience in order to perform the task, the current task? How you use your past experience to perform the skills, the task in a real life situation. Contextual intelligence refers to the ability to adapt to a real world situation and various contexts. Refer to the ability to adapt to a real world situation and various contexts. Like I've said, most of the students are used to sitting for an exam, actual exam sitting. They sit an exam and write. However, things change now. Most of the exams are online. You don't have a choice but to adapt to the new environment. They say refer to an ability to adapt to a real world situation and various contexts. By various contexts is some of the exams are 2-hour sessions. Some of them are you can write in any time of the day. However, they tell you that as soon as you go online, as soon as you log in and press attempt quiz, there's no go back. Once you close it, it closes. So those are various contexts, they create different anxiety to us. Sometimes you write exams like now. You write exam, you'll find that you're experiencing load shedding. Once you experience load shedding, the network becomes shady. So those are various contexts. You need to think on your feet. Do I change the location? Do I move a different direction? Do I change network? Like currently, you couldn't hear me. Then I move from Rain network, then I change to Vodacom. So that's what you do. They say contextual intelligence refer to the ability to adapt to real world situation and various contexts. Same applies to you when you write your exams. You need to have more than one network at least. More than one network. So that when you're experiencing load shedding, there's no need to continue with one network. You change, you move around, you change, or you change your setting. Moving on. Heredity versus environment. Heredity is biological under biological intelligence by Francis Galton is genetic inheritance. Now, heredity versus environment. By heredity, what do you mean? They say people who are closely related in terms of genetic obtain similar scores on intelligence tests. People who are closely related in terms of genetics obtain similar scores. not everyone, not all of us. However, they say intelligence runs in a family. Chances are when your husband is intelligent, chances are the kids will be intelligent. Maybe numbers and figures. The father is good in numbers and figures. The daughter is good in numbers and figures. Mother is good in what? In body kinesthetics, in running. She's fit. Then the daughter takes does the same. It's good in sport. It's genetically, it's something that's inherited. It's a fit family. People who are closely related in terms of genetics or similar scores, you'll find that, again, the siblings, when it comes to performing certain aspects, they are good in that. Because of what you call heredity, genetics. They continue to say, the closer the relationship, the more similar scores are likely to be. It has been found that test scores of identical twins are more similar than those of fraternal twins. According to the psychological assessment, they say the scores of identical twins are more similar than those of fraternal twins. Identical twins are those twins who look the same. Who look the same facially, who look the same biologically, who look the same in structure, the body-wise, they look the same. Those are identical twins. The test says the identical twins produce similar scores most of the time. Similar scores, whether they smart, both of them, or whether they perform average. They perform average, both of them, because their cognitive capacity is the same due to genetic heredity. It's a compared to fraternal twins. Fraternal twins are those twins, but you cannot tell that they are twins because they don't look the same. However, they are born. They are born in a go. They are twins because their mother carried them for 9 months, both of them, or 3 of them. But they don't look the same. Those type of twins. They say compared to identical twins, they produce similar scores. However, fraternal twins, they do produce similar scores, not compared to identical twins. The identical twins, everything is identical. Scores are identical, facial are identical. That's a research, but it does not apply to all the twins in the world. I say mostly. Then the environment. It is argued that the environment has a huge influence compared to heredity. The environment plays a huge role in influencing people's behavior compared to heredity. That's what they said. They say people who are raised in similar environments obtain similar on intelligence tests. People who are raised in a similar environment obtain similar scores on intelligence tests. That's true. People who are raised in a similar environment, either raised in an environment or attending in the same environment. I made an example of schooling. Normally, parents will choose appropriate schools for their children. You don't just wake up and apply to any school nearby. You go to a school whereby you hear that this school is good in 1, 2, 3. It will be a good school for my child. Why? Because you want the similar effects. If your neighbor's kid is smart, excel in maths and numbers and figures, excel in sports, good in confidence, it's easy to assume that the school has an influence. Then you take your kid as well, that's in that particular school, in order to increase this academic excellence. People who are raised in a similar environment obtain similar scores. This is easy. In terms of townships, you'll find some in certain township, there are a group of guys, there are a group of ladies who do similar things because they're influenced by the environment, whether it's positive or negative. But what they're saying here is that the environment influences the way you're thinking, the environment influences the way you do things. The environment has an effect. Meaning that people who share the same environment are exposed to the same kinds of stimulation. They're exposed to support for the development of the skills, ability to influence the performance on intelligence tests. That is an environment. Moving on. Remember, intelligence versus creativity. Intelligence versus creativity. you cannot explain intelligence without explaining what? You cannot understand the concept intelligence without putting an effort on what? Creativity. Creative involves original, novel, as well as useful ideas. Creative involves original, novel, and useful ideas. When you say someone is creative, normally it's someone that you can come with new things. It's someone that can create, someone that can perform things out of ordinary. They say you are creative. Artists are creative, mostly. Talented people they are creative. Creative and intelligence are related, but they represent different kinds of mental abilities. Creative and intelligence are related. Yes, they are related. However, they represent different kind of mental activity. What do they mean by it? They represent different kinds of activities. They say to you, mostly high creative people have above average intellectual ability. Mostly highly creative people have above. So you need to highlight because it can come in multiple choice question. They say to differentiate between intelligence and creativity. Or they might say, which statement? They put this statement. Which statement is the most appropriate in relation to intelligence and creativity? They put this statement and which statement, which is the correct statement in relation to intelligence and creativity? We'll give you 4 options. Out of those options, we'll put this one. Or might choose to put this one. So you need to memorize these 5 steps, these 5 concepts. That's how we answer. That's why we design questions. Choose the most appropriate. They say creative involves original, novel, useful, meaning it's the most correct. Creative and intelligence are related, but they represent different kind of mental ability. A multiple choice question, you must say creative and intelligence are not related. Mostly highly creative people have above average intelligence ability. Example, we might change it and say intelligent people have above average intellectual ability compared to creative people. Intelligent people have above average intellectual compared to creative people. We play around the concept. Creative thinking differs from routine problem solving. They say creative thinking differs from routine problem solving because it's inventive and includes originality. You see the difference. Mostly of intelligence, you apply our logic. They say from step 1 to step 2. When you solve a problem, solve this sum, solve for x. In order for you to solve for x, there are specific steps. You start here, you move to step number 2, you move to step number 3, you move to step number 4. That is what? It's a routine problem solving. You need to follow the steps. In order for you to make orange juice, you need to follow the steps. It's a routine, step 1, step 2, step 3. However, creativity, they say creativity doesn't follow the routine problem solving. Instead, it's inventive and including originality. When someone when Rasta is creating a picture of someone, there's no routine problem solving here, and you end there. It's spontaneous. It doesn't need to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 10. How is spontaneous? It's all about your creativity. It's all about how do you feel? You're inventive. Creative thinking is adaptive. Creative thinking is adaptive in the sense that it must be appropriate to the situation and the problem. They say creative thinking is adaptive. By adaptive, number 1 is mood, like I said. Your mood determines your creativity on that particular day or the setting. It's all about creativity. For instance, a wedding. You hire an event planner into a wedding. They will ask you what's your theme, what's the color, the flavor of the cake, what you like, the chairs, time. And they say creative thinking is adaptive in a sense that it must be appropriate to the situation and the problem. Then we have what? Divergent thinking, convergent thinking, as well as cognitive complexity. These are three concepts in order for us to understand intelligence and creativity. Divergent thinking refers to an ability to produce unusual and unconventional thoughts or solutions to the problem. In short, this is creativity. Refers to the ability to produce unusual, meaning that is originality, original novel things, unconventional thoughts, solutions to the problem. Divergent thinking, then you have what? Convergent thinking. Convergent thinking describes the thought process that's conventional and correct answers to the problem. 1 + 1 is 2. That is conventional thinking. There's no other way. You cannot be creative about it. You take one apple, you take the second apple, then there are 2 apples. It's straight to the point. You start from 1 to 2. Then you have what? Cognitive complexity. Cognitive complexity refers to an ability to think beyond what is presented to you and use complex thoughts pattern. To think beyond what is given to you refers to the ability to think beyond what is presented to you and to use complex thoughts and pattern. The example here would be normally when you write assessments, there are questions which are straight to the point. There are questions that needs application. They test your knowledge deeply. So it's not just about what you have studied, but you mixing what you have studied, your experience, you become creative. They say you think beyond what is given to you. That's it for today. So this is the previous textbook that we have been using. However, same information you'll find in your study unit. I've used it just to get more information in order to explain to you, to give you something that is broad. I'm still trying to understand intelligent conscience, mental age. Can I link them with other theories? That's a question from Sarah. Before we move, let's just answer Sarah's question. I can see your question, Sarah. Sarah is saying, I'm still trying to understand the intelligent conscience and mental age. Can I link them with other theories? Let's go back. Let's try to link them with other theories. Let's go back. Let me open the slides. Let's move back. Let's the slide. Let's move back. Yes. Sarah's question, number 1. Intelligence, like you said, is an ability to reason, solve, learn, and perform, apply the skills. Then I said to you, how do we determine someone's intelligent conscience? How do we determine that someone is intelligent? I made a scenario. When you go for an interview, either you attend the interview face to face. They also use some assessment to determine if you be fit for the company, if you be fit for the job. More like they predict your future with the company. They predict your future with your company through what? Through using tests. How do you use those tests? Or even when you go from primary to secondary school, normally the school, they need to assess you whether you fit enough to join that school. They use what? Psychological tests. The question is now, how do they use those psychological tests? How do they determine someone's intelligence through the use of those psychological tests? Let's start with mental age. We need to differentiate between what is chronological age and mental age. Chronological age is an actual age. Let's assume that Sarah is 17 years old. That's your chronological age. 17 years old. Mental age. Sarah is 17, chronological age. However, she can perform tasks that can be done by 21 years old. An example would be, you'll find someone who hang around with people who are older than him. You'll find kids who hang out with children who are older than him or her, meaning his or her mental age is above his chronological age, is above his peers. You are 17 years old as Sarah, but you can relate, talk, understand concept of 30-year-old, meaning your mental age is 30-year-old. However, your actual age is 17 years old. That's when you start. Chronological age and mental age. That's the first question. Sarah said, I don't understand intelligent content. So intelligent content, they say intelligent content is a ratio between mental age as well as chronological age divided each by 100. School setting, they want to check whether you are fit enough for this grade, whether you are fit enough for the school. In order to do that, you need to apply this. It's more like a calculation. You need to apply this intelligent content, your IQ. We need to determine your IQ. For us to conclude that you can master skills in certain level, you need to determine your IQ. Your IQ is your level of performance. Which task can you perform at your age? In which grade can you attend? That you determine what your intelligent quotient. The question is again, how can you relate this to theories? In order for Sarah to understand this, she says, can you relate this intelligent quotient to the theories? Let's check if you can relate intelligent quotient to theories. Let's check which theory can you check. Let's use this one because it's broad. How can you apply intelligent quotient with these theories? Logical and mathematical intelligence. Logical and mathematical intelligence. Let's say you intend to become a mathematician or actuarial science student. You go to university, you like to become an actuarist. For you to become an actuary, you need to master numbers and figures. You need to be able to use numbers beyond other students. You need to master numbers and figures compared to other students. Normally, you apply. Once you apply, they check your grades. They check your results from high school level. At times they'll say to bring your grade 11 as well as your grade 12. They need to determine your consistency. How good are you with numbers? Normally they'll tell you it's a math that you must get a distinction. It's a math that you must get a distinction in order for you to do actual science. That's how they determine whether you're good. Can you master the degree? Can you progress throughout the degree? That's how I can explain it. Meaning, yes, already they know your age, and already they know whether you're good in numbers. Another theory that can relate to IQ, general knowledge. General knowledge that you cannot not expect a 7-year-old to understand repo rate. However, some do understand. You cannot expect a 10-year-old to explain politics from in and out. However, some of the learners do that because of their mental age. Mental age is influenced by what you watch on TV. There are learners or kids who are influenced by their parents' conversations. Have their parents, either politician or economics, normally they discuss these topics. The kid normally is exposed to that information, then masters that information. Have the parents normally argue with relationships and stuff. Then the kid is used to that exposure, then masters how to manage relationships. We can easily say that's how we can determine a 12-year-old is good in managing relationships because of the parents or the surrounding. They normally argue. whether they are negative or positive. Influences what? It influences his or her mental age. He's 14 years old, however, can use good in relationship because of the influence around, meaning now that her mental age is beyond the 12-year-old because he or she is exposed to a different setting. Sarah, I think I've answered you. I think I've answered you to the best of my ability. Thanks for the question. Good morning, sir. Is there any way to get access to slides, the recording I join later due to no sharing? Yes, you'll get slides. Normally when you start classes, you upload the recordings as well as where you find the link for the classes, where you join, where you find the links for the classes, you'll find the recording as well. The link for the recording. Okay, thank you, sir. You have answered me successfully. Okay, thanks, Sarah.